Hello, everybody, and thank you for clicking on um, unusual. Well, it is our regular start time. It's our regular 9 p.m. start time, but the plan was originally we were going to be on at 10, then 9:45, and there has been a lot of breaking news. So I'm on now. We're going to cover the news, and then coming up at 9:45, we'll have Corinne on with us. Corinne IRL. Um, for those that are unfamiliar with who Corinne might be, this is a look at her YouTube channel, independent journalist and IRL active live streamer. IRL in real life. She also uses Corinne IRT in real time, and we this is a picture of her, a very lovely lady, and we will very intelligent lady, fascinating character, and we'll talk to her about her story coming up again around 9:45, but. In the meantime, we're going to get going with what's happening news wise here. Um, Hi, Spoon. Hello, Wilson. Thank you all for hopping in, and we'll get things rolling here. As we normally do, let's start out with what's happening breaking news wise, according to the mainstream media. Hi, Casey. Um, CNBC headline: Ukraine war live updates. Biden. Okay. Ukraine war live updates. Biden calls nuclear treaty suspension a big mistake. We reported on that last night. Russia has stepped back from the STAR, the strategic treaty to limit offensive nuclear weapons. So that was the last kind of remaining tie between the United States and Russia as far as fair play amongst nuclear weapons. We'll talk about some nuclear stuff coming up here in just a couple of minutes. NPR headline: Pennsylvania investigates. Daggone, I've got a habit of putting both hands on. I've got to stop that. Pennsylvania investigates a possible criminal charges in that train derailment. Again, this comes from NPR. CNN, Alex Murdaugh wants to take the stand in his own defense. USA Today, a rare blizzard warning issued for the Los Angeles area. And friends out there in that area, you're going to get some high winds. The higher elevations are going to get some snow, possibly some massive snow, and get it whipped around with some massive wind, and a lot of rain in that area. Of course, drought-stricken area. So good for our friends out there in LA. You're going to have a couple of possibly unpleasant days in what is one of the most normally beautiful areas weather-wise, but it'll be worth it in the long run, so they say. Spectrum News 13 crew member and a 9-year-old killed in Pine Hills, Florida. We're going to talk more in depth about that coming up next. The Wall Street Journal, U.S. considers release of intelligence of China's potential arms deal with Russia to supply Russia with weapons. And that, again, comes from the Wall Street Journal. That is our look at what's happening in the mainstream as far as what headlines are being presented by the mainstream media. And again, there are a lot of things happening that were not mentioned there. We are going to go in depth on one that was mentioned there. I'll get back over here to the chat in just a minute. Again, thank you all for watching. Thanks for clicking on. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to start out by referencing last night's episode. For those about to rock, we recruit you. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, please. And I'm going to reference this in two ways. At the end of the episode last night, the featured part of the show yesterday was about Laurel Canyon, and actually, I wasn't really planning on doing that last night. Things got kind of messed up yesterday, and we had to switch some things around, and I kind of did that a little faster than I wanted to. So I'm either gonna go back and do like a part 2 of that coming up here in the future, or possibly have a panel if there are enough people who were around that area, are familiar with the stories of that area. If we can get enough people together, I might have a panel just specifically for this, because there's so much to delve into with that particular scene in Laurel Canyon. So, okay, that's out of the way. The second reason I have this up is technology, weather, health, and seismic. We were talking last night, and for the past couple of days, we've been talking about a significant coronal mass ejection, a CME, coming from the sun. We've been talking about the weakened magnetic field. We've been talking about the poles migrating and the possible effects on technology, weather, health, and seismic. Technology, there has been some outages. Nothing has gone down. There's problems with transportation or transmissions, satellite transmissions, especially long distance out to sea, things like that. The weather, well, we talked about the weather last night, and we've got some incredibly intense weather today, just as was predicted. Health, the idea that people with mental conditions, emotional problems, we got to remember our brain is electrified. Everything is little electronic synapses, as they're called, little electronic communications back and forth from tiny little receiver. It's having an effect on people, and it was supposed to increase by 5 to 15% a person's condition. Just something to think about. Finally, seismic, and look for a possible uptick in seismic activity. China reports a magnitude 7.3 earthquake on the border with Tajikistan. And to give you an idea, an earthquake of about 7.3 magnitude occurred near the border of China's Xinjiang region and Tajikistan at around 8:37 a.m., 0:37 Greenwich Mean Time. That's according to Chinese state television. The CCTV reported on Thursday, so that's today, our time. And here's the area we're talking about. This is it's China over here. Let me. Okay, China over here. Tajikistan, right in somewhere in this region. I don't have an exact location yet. Somewhere in this region, on the border, near the border of China on this side and Tajikistan on this side. 7.8 earthquake to 7.3, depending upon depending upon which source you're looking at. But nonetheless, a relatively big earthquake. And let me, okay. Okay, we'll bump out one more time. Right in here is where it happened. And if you go, it's almost a straight line over to where the earthquakes happened right here at the border of Turkey and Syria. And again, running just straight back across. So could it be a sign of possibly bigger things? Of course it could be. Is it? No, we can't say that. As always with what we do on here, we just, we're giving you things to think about. I mentioned earlier the idea of, possible nuclear. What happened here? Okay. The idea of possible, the nuclear treaty being, what did it just up? It zapped me out of there. Okay. The idea of the nuclear treaty being pretty much abandoned. Once Russia abandons it, it's kind of one-sided. So there really is no nuclear treaty. And to tie in with nuclear, this comes from USA Today at 5:10 p.m. this evening. Fire contained at the Tennessee uranium processing facility, nuclear safety officials say. This is at Oak Ridge. Fire at the Y-12 National Security Complex uranium processing facility in Oak Ridge has been contained. So it's good it's been contained. It's good there were no injuries. At the same time, it kind of is a little concerning that there is a fire in the first place. All right. We've got another story. This comes from Crisis 24. As this is just this, there are other sources to this. U.S. authorities responding to reports of a possible active shooter at the Naval Air Station in Whidbey in Oak Harbor, Washington. And that is current today. This was 7:01 p.m. 7:01. So possible report anyway, and we will say a possible active shooter at the Naval Air Station in Whidbey. And let's jump here just real quick before we get to this other part. Russia and China blocked the United Nations response to the North Korean missile launches. A U.S.-led call for the UN Security Council to take action over North Korea's recent spate of missile launches, which included an IBM test over this past weekend, was basically blocked by Russia and China. Let me get that. And there was a reported shooting at a Walmart not too long ago in Santa Fe, New Mexico. No one was injured in that shooting, and basically there was property damage. It was more or less the person was shooting at the Walmart rather than at individuals. That's at least the report I'm getting now. And again, that's a really, really preliminary report. Finally, this story. This happened not too long ago and an area of Orlando, Florida, Pine Hills, Florida. There was a mass shooting. Um, it started this morning when a 19-year-old black man shot a 20-year-old white woman in her car um, in the street, and she was left dead in the car with the door open. The police came and investigated, and he, after shooting the 20-year-old, which he apparently at least had some knowledge of, they had some sort of connection. After shooting her, he went around the corner and down the street to a house and shot a mother and her daughter, the daughter being 9 years old. Then waited, and when the police and sheriffs had removed the car for processing and had pretty much left the scene, news crews, two news crews that were covering the story, one crew from, I believe it was ESH Channel 9, I think, and the other one from Spectre Channel 13 out of Orlando. Both of those crews were there. The gunman went back to the scene, and apparently the one news crew hid, and he did not see them and did not shoot at them, but did shoot at the other news crew, the second news crew. And all of this resulted in 5 people being shot in total by the same 19-year-old, and 3 of them are dead. The 20-year-old that was the first victim, the 9-year-old little girl, and the on-camera reporter from the local TV news station. The other 2 that were shot are both in critical condition. The mother of the 9-year-old girl and the camera person of the TV station. What we're about to see is the report from the Orange County Sheriff's Department. I hope. Well, I hope it plays, because I didn't write down the guy's name, the young man's name that's has already been charged with the first crime. He is in custody. I'm not sure what the deal is, why this isn't playing. Let me get off screen here and check and see why it's in. Again, thank you all for clicking on. If I can't get it to play, I've given you a pretty good rundown. Let's see if this will do it. No. Okay. There are like, okay, I see what's happening here. There are multiple streams up. And I am going to get to this. We got some time here. Again, Corinne will be joining us, and hopefully I'll get this. I'll get this thing. I've already previewed it. I'm not sure why it's not working now, but it's not, of course. So, tell you what, I'll let this run and hop over here to the chat real quick and see if that comes back up. Yes, thank you, Casey. Please keep the chat respectful. Hi, Lisa Hurley, Sandy Foster. Let's run up here and see who will, if I can. This is such a touchy little thing. See who all's in here. Hello, Celtic Mutt. Hi, Bunny. Thank you all for being here. Who else is in the chat? Glenda, Sunshine. Hi, Cunning Stunt. Hello, Mater. Macaulay. Hi, Taffy. Yeah, it's been a real busy late afternoon, early evening. How did it feel to get canceled by the big tech Nazi libtards, Mr. Dufus? Um, Not sure exactly what you're talking about, but that could be that could be interpreted a number of ways. Um, yeah, people are. Yeah, we're kind of in. We're kind of people are just. We've modded up tonight, and it's just kind of Corinne's going to come on. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as controversial as people think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a regular conversation. I don't know. We'll find out. But we want to make sure the chat is accessible for everyone. So yeah, we got some extra mods, extra mods on today. I'm going to try something else here and see if I can find out because I would really like to play the sheriff's take on this. Um, in the meantime, I will show you. I'll show you a picture of the person that has been charged with the first shooting and is allegedly responsible for the other four, including the other two killings. This is from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. 19-year-old Keith Melvin Moses, the suspect in a series of shootings today that left 3 dead. This is a sad day for our community. 3 were murdered today, including a woman in her 20s, 9-year-old girl, and a My News 13 employee. And this is the young man smirking, it appears, uh, being arrested or being processed, rather, already in custody. So, again, I would like to be able to play the sheriff's statement, but here we go. It just, all right, we got him. All right, let's get back to this. Finally, thank you for your patience. Again, we got just a few minutes here before we have Corinne on with us, and I want to play a little bit of the Orange County Sheriff's statement. Oh, yeah, of course, This is going to do this. Remind you that Corinne will be coming up. Here's her YouTube page. If you at Corinne IRL, if you are not a subscriber already, she will be coming up here. I'm not sure what the deal is. Maybe if I exit, it'll play. It just blasted my eardrums. I played it all the way to the end. Well, maybe it's because I'm trying to share it. Oh well, we'll see. I'm not going to try anymore. So we've got what do we got here? We've got a few minutes before Corinne comes on. Hang on a second here. Oh, there we go. All right. So I'll go back over to the chat. 6% of the population, black men, commit 40% of all crime. You got a big problem. I'm not sure where those statistics are coming from, but nonetheless. Okay. Well, let me see if I can tell you what I will do. I am going to check and make sure that nothing else has happened. Okay. Okay, they're both still okay. I'm just getting additional information on the shooting in Florida. Both still in critical condition. The camera person and the mother of the 9-year-old. If you are just joining us, we've had about a half an hour's worth of breaking news that we weren't anticipating. An earthquake, depending on who you talk to, a sizable earthquake in Tajikistan near the border with China. Now, fortunately, that is an area that my sources had, when I got informed of this, they said the good news is it's not a densely populated area like the Turkey Syria earthquakes that happened over this past couple of weeks. And so that is a positive. However, a significant earthquake, once again, in that area. The Orlando shootings, um, one man, a 19-year-old black man, shot a 20-year-old white woman in her car that he apparently had a relationship of some sort with. Then went to a house around the corner and shot a mother and a 9-year-old, and then waited until police left the scene. And news crews, two crews of news people were still there, went back and shot two of them, one of which died. The 9-year-old has died. The 20-year-old that was killed early this morning. Those three people have died. The other two are in intensive care, critical condition, and the shooter has been apprehended. Um, See, there was a report of a live active shooter at the Santa Fe, New Mexico Walmart that was quickly quelled. No one was injured. Report of an ongoing active shooter situation in Whidbey Island in Oak Harbor, Washington, at the naval base there. Um, and a fire at Oak Ridge nuclear facility this afternoon that thankfully was contained, put out, and no one was injured. So uh, that kind of catches everybody up in case you are just joining us of the breaking news stories that have been ongoing. Okay, don't want to. Okay. All right, just checking the headlines to make sure. Um, Putin says Russia and China reach a new milestone on cooperation. Um, this comes from Bloomberg. President Vladimir Putin said he's waiting for the Chinese counterpart Xi to visit Russia as he hailed deepening ties with Beijing as talks with China's top diplomat proof positive. Well, last night, one of the headlines was that Zelensky said if China and Russia ally, then World War III is all but inevitable. So uh, take that for what you will. BTM Sparky, hello. Heard some military people talking about how Putin is who we have to worry about. Okay. Hello, Shelly G, Troll Central. And anybody, if I've missed you, hello. It's not intentional. Thank you all for clicking on. Thanks for being in the chat, those of you there, and thanks those of you watching. We're waiting on Corinne to come on, and it's not that she's not she's not scheduled to come on until 9:45. So and hopefully we'll be able to get it all worked out. But once, actually, let me send something here real quick. Once you're in the room on YouTube, let me know, and I will put the link down, and we'll get you into the back room, and then get you up onto the channel. Thank you. So doing a little production and behind the scenes work, on the scenes, in the scenes. What's been happening? What's been going on with everybody? Somebody said something about me being bloodthirsty for a U.S. war with China and Russia. No, man, no, I'm just the opposite of that. I've studied enough war to know that that's not going to be good for anybody. I don't want that at all. I don't want us at war with each other here. And I don't want us at war with anyone else, even though we are in a proxy war right now. History will show that we've been sending a lot of money and equipment to Ukraine in order that we don't have to send our own troops and our most advanced technologies. The old fight them over there so we don't have to fight them over here. But that's what's happening. I mean, that's what history will show is going on. Now, will history show that this is the buildup? This will history say, World War III started and it's already going on, and it's just not, we're not classifying it as such. Will history classify it as already happening and starting with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, or even the 2014 Russian invasion of Ukraine, or the United States invasion of Iraq? Or, I mean, the United States, in case you haven't figured it out, is based on what's known as the military-industrial complex. And there's a book called 1984 by George Orwell that I would recommend anybody that hasn't read it, read it. Three things that are said in there that always resonate. War is peace. As long as you're in war, somewhere else, you're peaceful at home. Ignorance is strength, and slavery is freedom. That's how people in the Orwellian book, that's how the citizens were groomed to believe that war is actually a great thing. that slavery is actually freedom and that ignorance is actually strength. And just something to think about. And that's just one little aspect of 1984 by George Orwell, by the way. Um, Not sure how I got on that tangent, but I did. So let's pop back down here. Um, my friends in Nigeria are trying to find cash. They also don't seem disturbed about it. Uh, Thank you, Spoon. 5 aftershocks so far in Tajikistan outside the city of Murgaholb. Okay, we got a little bit of time here. Let me look that now that we have an actual. And again, thank you, Spoon. Um, Now that we have an actual area to pinpoint, hop back over here. Okay, hang on. Uh, okay. Mm-hmm. We've got it. All right. Okay, so it's outside of Merjohab. Trying to see if there's any oil possibly around that area. Statue of Lenin. Okay. All right, that gives us an idea of where it's at. Here's the border with China, right over here, and I think this is like Afghanistan down here. Yeah, that's Afghanistan. That area right there is considered Afghanistan. Don't be surprised if that's not fought over before long. Okay. Again, thank you, Spoon. That's the earthquake, and again, aftershocks coming. Um, for those that watch the channel, know that that's kind of what was predicted by the coronal mass ejections when they would hit, that they would have some of these impacts. Um, about 67 kilometers to the west. Okay. All right. Waiting on our scheduled guest, Corinne. Uh, okay. All praise to Jesus. May Corinne be anointed with God's word. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Uh, because you know what, I do have something I can do. I've got something I can do as backup if something falls through. Actually, I don't have it ready, but I can have real quick. And If anybody happens to get, any more information on any of the other breaking stories we were talking about, I guess primarily it would be the active shooter at the naval base in Washington. That would be the most, the earthquake. The other stories are kind of, I think, contained. And we get 3 minutes. I know what we can do in 3 minutes. I believe CKM Music has a new song out yesterday, featuring some drumming, and we'll share that real quick. So we'll have a little bit of sound going on while everybody's chatting, and while we look forward to Corinne joining us. Its song is let's see. Here we go. There. Let me get us over there to it. It's called Sheets and Gaggles. And whoop. All right. Start back in the beginning. And here we go. It is 2 minutes and 31 seconds long, so hopefully Corinne will be joining us. Sorry about that. Here we go. Again, CKM Music and Sheets and Gaggles. One of, if not the latest. Hi, GA from CA. How are you? Hello, Basshead. Macaulay. And again, we're now waiting and hoping that Corinne is going to join us. We are expecting her at any time. And let me promo her website or her YouTube page one more time. Corinne IRL, independent journalist and IRL active live streamer. And you can find her at Corinne IRL. Uh, and hopefully you'll find her here in just a couple of minutes. Snow avalanche killed 17 4 days ago, was 200 miles from the epicenter of the earthquake today. Uh, I am, you know, I'm starting to get concerned that these people telling us that we're in for possibly a massive shift in things. They could be right. I'm hoping not, because I've got a lot of things I'd still like to do. But the more these things aren't coincidental. It's not coincidental that the avalanche was probably triggered by some pre-tremblers to this earthquake. I mean, I don't think it's that hard to imagine. Um, and I'll kind of stall around here until 10 o'clock, and then if we don't hear from Corinne by 10, then I'll go to the alternative content programming that I have in mind. Same horizontal fault. Yeah, same horizontal fault line as the Turkey earthquake. Almost a straight, almost a straight line across there. As far as I know, Corinne is not here. I'm hoping she'll text me when she is at the YouTube page, and then I will drop the link, and she'll just be able to click on it and pop right up here. Lori Arnold, hi. Lori Arnold. Okay. How's everyone's weather? Lori K, if you're in the north, no. If you're in the north, we're not going to play the song. No, BTM Sparky, we are not going to play the song. She actually has more than one song, but no, we're not going to play any songs. The weather, if you're 50 miles north of where I am, you're in ice right now. And then where I am, 50 miles south of that point, it's 59 degrees and cloudy at 10 p.m. almost in mid-February. It's still almost 60 degrees outside. It's crazy. The weather's crazy. Illinois had tornado watches in the southern half of the state and had ice storm watches in the very farthest north portion of the state, just as Indiana did as far as the ice. We got a bunch of ice up north, but it's really nice here. So north of me, it's nasty. There are blizzard conditions in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, in the Dakotas, in Wyoming and Idaho, Montana. A lot of the blizzard conditions in Southern California and the higher elevations. So weather's crazy all over the place. I don't know how, but individually, feel free to respond to Lori K, and let her know how your weather is in your area. Oh, interesting. Okay, Cam. Well, I'll that kind of changes things a little bit there. We were supposed to get snow in the Bay Area potentially by Friday. Yeah, it's going to be really, really nice where I'm at for a couple of days, and it was, I don't know, it was 39 yesterday. It's 59 today. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer tomorrow, and then it's going to drop like 60 degrees again. Crazy. Whoever did that song, if it wasn't her, whoever did it, it's an incredibly catchy song, and it's an earbud song. It gets in your head, or at least it does mine. Gets in my head, and I can't get it out. And when I least expect it, it pops into my head, and I start singing it, and walking through the frozen food department at Kroger grocery store. Um, GA from CA expecting snow overnight, -37, going down to -45 Celsius. Wow. And BTM Sparky says we're hitting the 80s. Yeah. I I talked to somebody in Louisiana earlier, and they were like, it's 85 degrees here, 30 degrees Fahrenheit with light snow in Victoria, British Columbia. My former wife, grew up in, oh crap. I can't, it was on the tip of my tongue. I was just getting ready to say it. One of the southern suburbs of Vancouver, and was born on Victoria Island. So howdy. Thank you for being here, Annie. CKM, we just played a little bit of your music, brother. Thank you for blessing us with music. And yeah, people did love the new song. Oh, chat goes by too quick for me here, and this I'm not sure what that is. Why I'm getting that sound. Okay. All right. So that was not her. That wasn't her song. Because I wasn't, we weren't going to play the song, obviously, but I did I was curious about, if she wrote the song, if any of it was improvised. I did have some question, how it was produced, things like that. But if she didn't do it, that in itself is a story. So we'll talk about that. Okay. Surrey, Annie. It was Surrey. Yeah. I was only up there a couple of times. It was crazy. Um, you know, everybody thought I was a hillbilly when I was in Vancouver. they they all thought, that I wore overalls all the time, and had a piece of wheat, you know, chewing on a piece of wheat. Um, yes, it was Surrey, and yeah, downtown Vancouver, British Columbia, the first time. Um, my my then wife was up there working, and I was in Vancouver just hanging out, waiting for her to get done working. Um, and I don't even remember exactly where I was, somewhere downtown, and I was smoking cigarettes back then. I had lit a cigarette, and this guy came up, as I was lighting the cigarette, the guy came up and said, "Can I use your lighter?" And I just handed him the lighter, and he lit up a joint. And I was like, "My God, what are you doing? We're out here. It's legal there." Um, so yeah, you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. I guess it freaked me out. Um, I wear overalls too, Lori K. I don't have any at the moment, but yeah, they kind of thought, their impression was that, I was I must have been a regular on Hee Haw or something. Um, but yeah, okay. Um, no, it was Surrey. Surrey is where they lived when I was up there. Um, her and my then two stepdaughters, uh, before they all came down here. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Oh, deep dark depression, excessive misery. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and misery or agony on me. Yeah. Uh, well, thank you, Annie. Yeah, thank you very much. One of my hats. I'm kind of a hat guy. Um, thank you, Cunning. And yeah, I wanted to, this is kind of the news hat, if you will. It's not the stupid fuzzy furry hat for when it's freezing. Uh, you're welcome, BTM Sparky. And we're coming up on 10 o'clock, so uh, hopefully Corinne shows up. And if Corinne, if you're, text me if you're at the. Did I? Okay. Yeah, I sent it to her. All right. Maybe I was getting punked the whole time. I don't know. I hope not. I really wanted to have a conversation with her. I do find her fascinating. And um, let me go ahead and queue up what I'm going to be doing as alternative programming in case something's happened and Corinne can't join us. Um, Hope she's okay. Now I've got gloom, despair, and agony on me stuck in my head. Oh. Where is it? I should have some background music playing. Normally the show's not like this. Normally it's moving along. Um, what was it called? Wonderland. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Definitely got volume on this one. I don't know why the sheriff's department video from Florida wouldn't play for me on camera. All right, that's good. All right, here we go. We're ready. All right. No, you did not miss anything. Summer, you have not missed anything, not yet. And hopefully, hopefully she'll pop on here. I've got some decent questions. Like to know how she's. This is Wednesday, and Hot Mess Summer Cool. She just got home. Hot Mess Summer's been out doing her thing. I imagine Wednesday nights are generally her outreach night when she's out checking on the people, out feeding the people. Nothing to be sorry about, Cam. Um, she, she She messaged me earlier that she's going to be on at 9:45. Um, said 9:45 is good, and I said that there had been a bunch of stuff happening. I was going to go on earlier and get the headline news out of the way, and we'll talk at 9:45. And then at 9:35, I said, once you're in the room on YouTube, let me know. Put the link down, and we'll get you into the back room, and then get you up on the channel. So maybe she just hasn't, utilized the technology before. Uh, Cam, messenger and tell her just to call me, and I'll put her on speaker, and we'll just do an audio interview if she wants to do that, if she gets back with you. Yep, we're able to get food and supplies and a lot of rain jackets. Yeah, it's been raining really bad. Uh, yeah, and hey, it's if she doesn't come on, it's not the end of the world. Although some people thought if she did come on, it might be the end of the internet. It wouldn't be. Um, the new laptops with Win 11 can be a little buggy on the keys. Okay, thank you, LaPrue, because that's what I've got. I've got a new laptop thanks to several people that were very generous. And got a new laptop, got Windows 11, got a Bang& Olufsen sound system in it. So when we do play music, it'll come out well. The government intervened and won't let her speak. Hey, Troll Center, I wouldn't be surprised at anything in 2023. I sure hope not. I hope she just like fell asleep or something and forgot, or she's um, guys. We know that sometimes women take longer to get ready than they anticipate, and it's always worth the wait. So maybe that's what's going on. Uh, Hello, Pennywise. She was kidnapped by aliens. Let us pray. That's hey. Um, I don't have anything at all against praying. I end a lot of shows, a majority of shows. I end with blessings, whether people want them or not. Oh, BTM Sparky, I scored a laptop yesterday too. You look marvelous. Oh well, thank you. I feel marvelous. You look marvelous. Um, Billy Crystal from Saturday Night Live. Oh yeah, he was doing Fernando Lamas. Was that who he was doing? But thank you, Sparky, and congratulations on the new laptop. Uh, what a troll fest over at the Truther Cop. Okay, thank you, Annie. Yeah, Truther Cop and Truther Cop's got something going on over there. Um, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait 3 more minutes here to see if uh, Corinne shows up, and then we'll roll with something else here for a few minutes. And tomorrow night we're going to have uh, our Thursday night fun night. Thursday night's generally game night, and we're going to have GA from CA, and we're going to have Cunning Stunt on here both tomorrow night. And we might do some bad lip reading. We might do some charades, or we might just do what we regularly do and just play some games and everybody answer. I'll leave it up to the girls what they want to do. The ladies, meant no disrespect. I hate silence. I come from a radio background, and silence is intolerable. That's why you always have bumpers between songs and commercials, and throwing it back to the disc jockey, and the disc jockey. Yeah, you always had to have something coming out of them speakers. Silence is not good on the radio. No, and um, it is. It's just because I'm conditioned, but silence on the internet is different. Um, there are a lot of times where chats are flowing, and the channel itself is silent, but the chat is roaring. So it's different on the internet. uh, if she does come, you will be on all night long because she doesn't. No, if she does come on, we'll talk. I'm in no hurry. um, I'm in no hurry. I don't have any place to be tonight. But tomorrow night at 9 again, GA from CA and Cunning Stunt will be on, and we'll talk about what they want to talk about, and then we'll have some uh, we'll have some fun. I never stop talking to myself because someone needs to have a talk with me. Studio monitors are awesome. I don't have studio monitors. I've got Bang& Olufsen inside the laptop. I, I, I'm I for somehow I've ended up with um, I've got Bose speakers in my car, and I got Bang& Olufsen inside my laptop. Bang& Olufsen processing equipment, not speakers, I guess I shouldn't say, but. So I got really great sound in my vehicle, really great sound coming out of this new laptop. And for those of you that watch the show, we might have some music coming out, depending. We're in talks about putting a band back together. I'm very proud of me tonight. I am protecting my peace and hanging out right here. Cool. We're very proud of you always, Summer. Anybody that knows your story is proud to know you, everything you've overcome and everything you've done, and the person that you are. And those that don't know her in person, if you meet her in person, um, when you hear of someone that is, oh my gosh, they're so much different. They're not what I expected when I met them in person. When you hear that, that's not Summer. Uh, Summer is a fireball in person. Summer is a spark plug. She's got that she got that smile that even let alone seeing it, just thinking about her smile makes me smile. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I told you all along. The first time she came on here when all this stuff was going on, I said, Summer's not a part of any of this, and she's a real one, and you don't want her part. You leave Summer alone. Anyway, that's for a different story or a different episode. Oh, all right, here we go. We've waited. Let's go ahead um, and again, this, if you those of you that want to peel out and check over and see what's happening over at what's his name, the cop guy. What we are going to do tonight, we're going to look at another area, a completely different. Last night we did a little thing on Laurel Canyon. We're going to do a little something else tonight, a different direction, and we're going to talk about the Wonderland murders. Let me hop back over to chat. And anybody familiar with the Wonderland murders? Um, I've only got one side up because I wasn't prepared to do this. And this is not, this is not the part two I was talking about of Laurel Canyon. This is totally separate. Well, more or less separate from the music part of it. Um, Again, let me hop over into chat. Has anyone heard the name John Holmes? Anyone in chat ever heard the name John Holmes? John Holmes. Nobody's heard the name John Holmes? Yep. Ha ha ha. Ha. Yep. Yep. Ha ha. Of course. Um, John Holmes was. Uh, I know what I'm gonna. I know how I will. I know how I'll introduce John Holmes. Let me find the guy real quick here. Let me find this. Um, Hold on a second. I got an earthquake thing come up here, suggesting that Europe be on the lookout. Okay. Stop. There we go. Let me find him. Um, There it is. And again, we're doing alternative content. Corinne was supposed to be with us tonight, and has not made it yet, or at least I haven't heard from text. Um, all right, here we go. Let's start out with this. Again, this is Billy. I'm trying to get him on the show, and this is from his series.
And then there's another term that we'll just simply call commercial distribution. And all drugs are not created equal. You don't grow heroin or cocaine in your backyard.
Let's start this. Sorry about that. Let's start this back up here.
Because if we don't, this entire scenario is just going to seem completely out of place. Remember, the timeline that we're in now is 1981. It's been 12 years since Charles Manson and his backup band set the Los Angeles area, and the rest of the entire country for that matter, onto its collective ear. During that time period, there were certain changes that were taking place in society here and elsewhere. And not all of them were necessarily.
Okay, hold on. Corinne, if you're out there, right now, I just posted a link, and all you have to do is click on that link. That's all you have to do. And if it still doesn't work, then just call me, and we'll do it there. We'll do it. We'll do it over speakerphone without video. I'd rather do it. I'd rather do it with video. But the link should be there. It says host, I think, or I don't know. It says host on my software. I don't know what it actually says in YouTube, but all you should have to do is click on it, and it should bring you right up. Thank you all for your patience. Let's see if we can get this. Okay. All right. Just call me and I'll put you on speaker and we'll just do an audio interview. Okay. We'll see. See if we can make this happen here. And if not, we'll continue on with the story. There we go. All right. Hello.
Hi, it's Corinne.
How are you, Corinne?
Good. I have no idea how to get into your show, so tell me what to do exactly.
Well, there should be a link in chat.
Okay, so what's the name of your channel?
It's American Dufus channel.
Okay, how do I spell that?
The AMERICAN.
I know how to spell that.
DUFUS.
Okay.
And then channel.
Okie dokie. What city are you in?
I'm outside Indianapolis.
Cool. I'm from Indiana.
Are you really?
Yes.
No way.
I was born in Bloomington.
You're kidding me.
Corinne is at her flag dancing lesson with Dawn. That's too funny. It's so stupid. Okay, wait, so what do I do now?
You're in the chat.
In your chat.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
let me repost here. Let me repost the link, and all you have to do is click on it, and you'll be in what we call the green room. It's like the back area, and then I just push a little tab, and you will pop up on the screen. Okay, do you see the? Yep, there you are. You're in.
Restream Studio.
Yes, that's it.
Restream Studio. Okay, let's see if I can make this one work. My whole day is dealing with technology, so I'm really exhausted.
No problem.
Every minute of every day is with technical issues. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, it says allow. Is it working? Enter my name, Corinne, Corinne, IRT, in real time.
There you are.
What's up?
All right. Hang on. Let me bring you up on screen. There you go. I'm going to end the call now that we've got you here.
Good.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. How are you?
So good. I hope this works. Can you see me?
Yes, we got you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you. You were born in Bloomington, Indiana.
I was born in Bloomington, Indiana when my parents were in college there.
They went to IU.
My parents are from Fort Wayne.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
No way. That's crazy.
Yeah. Awesome. Indiana's an incredible state.
Do you have any relatives still here?
Yes, I have lots of aunts and uncles.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever get back here, let me know and I'll buy you a burger and we'll chat.
Aw, how far are you from Fort Wayne?
I'm exactly between Fort Wayne and Bloomington. So I'm like I'm like an hour and a half. I'm like an hour and a half from Fort Wayne and an hour and a half from Bloomington. Fort Wayne to the north, Bloomington to the south.
Can you see me?
Yes. Yeah. There we go. You're getting centered. Hang on. We got your background. There you go. Yeah. So how's the weather out there?
Well, it's very interesting because it's supposed to be 80 degrees today.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Isn't that crazy?
February. Yeah.
Don't even believe it. But it's getting hot. It's like 48 degrees right now, which is very strange for 10 p.m.
I know. Okay. I heard you were the most censored woman on the internet. And when I heard that, I thought, I've got to have her on my show.
Yes. I don't know why I've been banned and censored so much. I'm one of the most censored. I'm not the most censored.
Okay. All right. Fair
I'm
enough.
one of the most, and I have no idea why.
Well, that was my next question. How did that happen? So
Well, if
you
I
don't.
told you why, you'd probably get banned and censored.
Okay. Thank you.
If you say anything about Trump, if you say anything about vaccines that they don't like, they censor you.
Okay. We're not going to talk about either one of those topics.
So you know
Uh,
how I got banned and censored.
okay. Um, how'd you get started online?
So I'm an OG live streamer, and Ice Poseidon, the Ice Poseidon show is where I debuted everything in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills in like 2017. I was dating a live streamer named King Cam, and he brought me into the whole Ice Poseidon saga. Did you ever hear about Ice Poseidon?
No, talk to us about it. I've heard of him,
So,
yes. I know about IP2 and I know, that, but I haven't heard all of talk to us. Go ahead.
so the Ice Poseidon show was used to make a lot of money, and we used to have like 100,000 live at one time, and it was like 50 of the rowdiest boys in America, and like maybe five of the stupidest girls. It was just ridiculous, but it was a very, very good experience of learning how to live stream. And so because of that experience from 2017, I really went through the whole live streaming experience. And so I can really call myself, a founding foremother of active IRL, active IRT live streaming, which is the future of all journalism
I
because you
totally
don't
agree.
edit. Yeah, you do not edit. And, I need to write a book about it, but I founded the field of active IRT, which means active, which means you're not in a studio and it's in real time and you do not edit and you live stream onto at least 5 or 6 platforms at a time. So in case your phone is stolen or in case you're banned or censored or in case you lose your phone or whatever you think, it doesn't erase. It never erases. And so people who are in very critical situations, whether it is, a freedom fighter or in some type of revolution, I do believe that my form of journalism is going to be used in the future when freedom fighters stand up for their freedom against corrupt governments.
Well said. And
Yes.
I think you are probably on to something there.
Yeah.
So
So the
so
kind
you're
of live
kind
streaming that I do, you can't erase it because you live stream onto at least 5 to 6 platforms at a time. It's best if you do like 10 platforms at a time and you can never erase it. And if you get banned or censored, you just go and do it again and you get a new account and a new account and a new account and you play the game. It's not about making money. So people are really, really stupid about that. It's not about making money. It's about standing up for righteousness and being a true freedom fighter and standing up for, everything First Amendment in the United States of America, but around the world, true freedom, which is your individual right to express yourself uncensored with no violence around you.
okay. Um, so you're kind of transitioning from the entertainment part, the IP2 part. You've transitioned now to more the journalistic, the serious usage of the internet. Is that correct?
Yeah, unintentionally, I grew up in Los Angeles and I went to college at University of Southern California in Los Angeles. And so when I got into live streaming very seriously since 2017, really all the COVID closures really made me see firsthand how corrupt mainstream media is. And I can give you so many examples of things that happened, but it really changed my life when I had a live streamer named Simply Terrell, who's like a 6 foot tall black man. He was my camera person. And we were in Santa Monica at a very serious riot during the BLM protests. It was like June, I think. It was like June of 2020. And, he got arrested. I didn't get arrested. He got arrested because NBC News was behaving in a racist manner. And that newscaster said, oh, he's part of the protest or he's part of the riot. So I didn't get arrested because I'm white, but he got arrested because he's black. So I really began to really wake up and realize that it's all true and that, all the news is infiltrated and that we're not getting the truth. And so I've dedicated my life to being a freedom fighter and standing up for First Amendment freedoms, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom to express yourself, freedom to peacefully assemble and redress your government anytime you want. And so many other things. I think that we need to all come together in a constitutional convention and really upgrade the Constitution. So I got very, very serious unintentionally. I didn't want to get serious, but I had to, because all the COVID closures, all the vaccine issues, all the news now about Ukraine, everything that's happening, the truth is completely censored.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with you. That's kind of the premise of my show. Is I start out each episode doing newscasts and talking about things that mainstream's not talking about. So I'm not in total disagreement with you at all. Um,
Yes.
what?
And then we got really into using a thing called text to speech, where we were really experimenting with it, where someone could donate any amount of money and have their little voice heard. They could send something that says hi Corinne, or they could send something that says something nasty.
Yeah.
We were very the Ice Poseidon show was all about First Amendment freedom of speech, but all the boys got into a fight and they got raided at the very end of the show. They got raided by the feds.
What for?
No
Drugs?
one knows. No, 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 no.
Money?
Feds don't.
Money?
No, we don't know. We don't know. Feds do not raid you because of drugs ever. At the very end of the show, I think it was when was it? It was before COVID. I can't remember the exact dates, but the whole place, they had a live. See, we used to do live streamer houses, and I've been fighting with Ice Poseidon about stupid dumb stuff, and there's so many stories I could tell you. It was so stupid. But I was really close to his ex-girlfriend Caroline, and I really wanted them to get married. And I do believe that they're still soulmates. Ice Poseidon started dating another girl, and Caroline married a guy, and now they're both single again. But in the end, from that whole experience, I'm able to tell people a lot of very deep wisdom, which I couldn't say otherwise, because I've really experienced life.
Okay, you mentioned it being a show, and you mentioned it being like stream. You said a streamer house. Were you all in the? Was it like you were all in the same house, and you were all broadcasting on your individual streams, or was it like one streamer broadcasting everything in the house, or how did it work?
No, it was totally free game, and it's kind of like the live streamers do now, but it's less obnoxious. I feel like the live streamers now are just out of control.
uh,
Um,
they're not. You can tell somebody that hasn't been around for a while, and somebody that's like you consider yourself an OG of the live streaming. People that have been doing it like for a couple of months, you can really tell that they don't know that just the basic etiquette, just the basic, kind of the ground rules of how we've always done this.
it's really important to stay with a really respectful base of morals, values, and ethics, because live streaming has gotten out of control, and it's being used to harass people who are peacefully protesting. And we have to have freedom. We have to have peaceful protesters, because otherwise the government doesn't listen. And so what happened this summer with 1776 restoration movement, when they got infiltrated by all those people screaming at them all the time. I don't even know all those people's names. I'm not part of any of that drama, but I'm just saying, like, the 1776 restoration movement, they had the right to be in the park, and they had the right to do what they were doing. They weren't doing anything. They were just trying to peacefully protest, the corruption of the federal government. And it has nothing to do with individual persons' stupid judgments of each other, because as you judge, you will be judged. So I really try not to judge anyone.
Okay. Um, did you find? See, I started out covering it like covering a story, and then I found myself watching it all the time. Did you find yourself watching all of the drama even though you're like you were like a part of it? Were you watching it as well?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't watching it. I was part of it, but What's really important is that someone in your chat said that I've been live streaming since WYSIWYG. No, WYSIWYG, I forgot his real name. I have to get into that whole drama. That guy's a nightmare. And I met him on the front line at a BLM protest with John Sullivan and a whole bunch of people, a girl named Katie that I'd met from Seattle, and I knew her boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend. I met that guy, the WYSIWYG guy. I can't remember his full name now. But anyway, he was such a jerk from day one. And he was so judgmental and so stressful. His name wasn't WYSIWYG then. I thought he was a Fed. He acted like a Fed. I don't think he's a Fed now, but he acted like a Fed. And he became really infamous because of the trucker protests. I mean, I've been live streaming 3 years before this WYSIWYG guy. I forgot his real name. I can't remember his real name. It's like Chris or something. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know his
Yeah.
real name, but I'm not going to use it here.
Right. So chat can just ask me, who they want me to tell them about, because I know pretty much every single live streamer. Now, the new live streamers that are fighting with each other, like this woman named Lori, I have no idea who she is. I don't know who your mods are. I'm not sure who the other people are, but I've been live streaming, 4 years before 1776 restoration movement.
Okay.
And so
you said you watched one of the most watched events involved you. It involved you and Dom in the car in a rainstorm driving, no windshield wipers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was so scary. Listen, I had a very, very traumatic summer. And so I was really trying to recover from the trauma that I'd been through in the summer. But, Dominic was so devastated because he was kicked out of 1776 and he was driving recklessly. And I was really scared. It was very scary. That was the most watched.
It was one of the most watched. I don't know if it was the most watched, but my gosh, because of the situation. I mean, he obviously wasn't focused on his driving. He didn't have any windshield wipers. It was pouring down rain. You guys are screaming at each other. It was intense.
I mean, I was just so angry that he was screaming in the car about nothing. I knew God would take care of it all because I'm very, very dedicated to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, King Jesus of Nazareth only. And so for him to get so volatile and so just scream at the top of his lungs, he's a very animated person. I really love Dominic. He's a very kind person. But for him to scream like that in a car and drive recklessly like that was not okay. And then his sister got mad at me. His mom got mad at me. Well, I should be mad at everybody. But listen, the whole point of 1776 restoration is that Santa, David Rydell is one of the most incredible men I've met. And I really love him. And he was really trying to lead a movement. And, I will always respect that man.
Okay. All right. Now you're based in DC. You're covering DC. Both professionally and on a personal level. What are your favorite places in DC? What's your favorite place to cover?
I really, 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 I like to cover the U.S. Federal Court at 333 Constitution Avenue Northwest. That is where all of the J6ers are being prosecuted and persecuted pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 plus at a time. And it's just so shocking how corrupt that litigation is. And I have been there since March covering that. And I have more hours sitting in those courtrooms and watching the judges, watching the lawyers, watching the defendants. And it is a very serious situation of political prisoners, United States of America. And these people did things that, BLM protesters, Antifa protesters have done, and they're getting, 10, 20 plus years in jail. And it's a massacre situation. And it's a very, very emotional situation. And so I really appreciate the fact that I'm in DC and I can watch and see with firsthand knowledge. And I've interviewed so many J6ers, and they're being told not to talk to the press. And that's the stupidest thing you could do. The more publicity you get as you go through litigation, the safer you are. It's better if you get publicity before litigation. It's very, very important that you get as much publicity as possible. That's how you keep yourself safe, because the lawyers lie to you. and the judges are corrupt and they got bought and sold, and the juries are sleeping. Half the jury's sleeping most of the time. They don't care.
Does do those cases, do those individual court cases, do they generate a lot of media attention, or
No.
are you one of the only ones there covering it?
I was from since day one in March, not the big cases like Nicole Reffitt's husband. He got a lot of media coverage, but there's so many other people. There's like 3 to 5 per day of people who have nothing. They don't even know how to talk to media. I mean, I covered a guy named Dustin Thompson, and he was just thrown in jail in front of me for the rest of his life, and I didn't even know what to say to him. This was like last April, 1 year ago. This changed my life forever because I realized that freedom fighters have a very dismal path and that your government is against you. And if you look at what Elon Musk is releasing about Twitter and how the feds are involved in Twitter censorship, all the feds could be infiltrating the chat. They could be infiltrating everything we do. So it's very, very important that you realize you have to be very careful, what you allow your brain to think. But the political prisoner situation in Washington, D.C. is the most important situation happening that I report on. However, yesterday I was in the House of Representatives with some very interesting people who flew from all across America into DC. Yes, Washington, DC is safe for American patriots who are peaceful, and they went into the House of Representatives and they went to different Congress people's offices and they asked different staff members to stop the war in Ukraine. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to use your ability as an American citizen to go to your local elected officials and lobby them and tell them, you need to do this or I'm never voting for you again. And that's what 1776 restoration movement should have done that they didn't do. And I pray they come back to DC and actually do that because it's the most powerful experience you could ever have.
Okay, what's your favorite place outside of Washington D.C.?
I love Aspen, Colorado. I love Sun Valley, Idaho. I love Palm Beach, Florida. I love East Hampton. I love there's so many beautiful places, but America is falling, and we should have an upside down flag with distress on it, because what's happening in that is that we're getting encouraged to fight with each other. And that's the most important thing I can say to this chat, is that it's pointless to fight with each other. We need to find unity because we're all in this together.
And do you think, as I think, that the fact that you and I are on here together, coming from different backgrounds and different possible ideologies, and yet having a very civil and very informative conversation, this kind of needs to happen more, doesn't it?
Oh, of course. And I don't even know what your ideology is. A couple of my moderators said, don't do his show because he'll troll you and he'll make fun of you. And I said, I super don't care. I've been through everything. Like what I've been
No.
through with 1776 restoration movement, what I've been through with trolls is nothing like the Ice Poseidon days. Ice Poseidon days were the worst trolls. And if you look at my Google search engine, my real name is Corinne Clifford. If you look at that, I've been getting trolled for years now, and it's just ridiculous, and it's stupid, and it's embarrassing to the people who troll. And even if they use fake names, their karma is going to bite them in the ass, because no matter what, you get your karma back fast.
Yeah. And I feel like it's important that we have conversations like this. If there ever is any hope for a future for the country to come back together, to understand that people can talk, and find examples of it instead of everybody yelling at each other and calling each other names.
I mean, they're just yelling at each other because they're live streaming, and they think that that's what gives views, and it doesn't. That's a complete lie.
Yeah.
Yelling at each other does not give you views.
Okay. Can I ask about I'm a songwriter. Okay. Can I ask about your songs without going into too much detail? I want to know, well, first of all, are they your songs or did somebody else do them?
I got really into writing songs when we were stuck in lockdown for COVID. And so there was a guy in Las Vegas who ended up kidnapping Andy Dick. And that was just ridiculous. Okay.
That is a statement I never thought I'd have on my show, but it is totally relevant because we'll get to Andy here in a minute. But
So the guy that wrote these songs with me, he kidnapped Andy Dick. I mean, it's just ridiculous when I tell you these stories. The stories that I have, you would not even believe. They're shocking, but he's a very violent, volatile person. In the beginning, I thought it was cool because I needed an introduction song. And, we were supposed to make 10 songs. We only made two because the guy is so volatile and so violent. And he's a danger to society. And he should be incarcerated, not the J6ers. The J6ers that I meet are the sweetest men and women. Okay, like Pam Hemphill. She's like a 70-year-old woman. She's incredible. All right, they shouldn't be incarcerated. But the guy that I wrote these songs with is mentally ill. So half the songs, I think there's like two songs. I wrote two songs that came out to public. I was not in control of the words and I was not in control of the tone. So
okay,
those songs came out without my permission
all
and
right,
without my, we were working on them and they were like supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be a joke, and we
okay.
shouldn't have done them in the order we did them in. But I like the songs. I think they're hilarious. They're supposed to be a joke. You're supposed to
It,
laugh. I used to laugh all of the time. I don't laugh anymore.
I understand that, but they are well done, and they get in your head, or they get in my head. I don't know if you heard earlier, but I'm walking through Kroger through the frozen food section, and I'm going Icelandic. Um,
It's ridiculous. Pacific Islander. I mean, it's just a joke. It's supposed to be funny because the world is so ruthless. And one thing I will never change, I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in 100% freedom of speech. You cannot make words illegal. And that was the whole point of doing that.
right. Okay.
Right.
And
You
and
cannot ever make words illegal. No one should get kicked out of school because of the N word. No word should be illegal. That is unacceptable behavior. We are supposed to have freedom of speech in the United States of America. I stand by that. I've been called every name in the book. I've been treated in a violent, volatile, verbally abusive manner. Now, you could be verbally abusive, but I still don't think that words should ever be illegal, and I will always stand up for that. I've been tortured the most by words, and I, to this day, will never allow words to ever be made illegal.
did you improvise any of that, or was all of it kind of already pre-written?
Nothing was pre-written. It was supposed to be a joke, and the way he edited it was so good. Because when he and I got in the biggest fight, and I left his stupid apartment, and he had a gun, and he was like holding it at me, and I said, "I'm never talking to you again. Throw all the songs away." And he didn't. He didn't throw them away, and he still
Okay.
wants to work with me, and I would never talk to him again. One thing I do not like violence, and if you're ever violent around me, I will never talk to you again.
Well, you've got a good singing voice, and it ended up being a catchy little song. All right, enough
Well,
about
there were
that.
two of them. There were two of them.
Right? Yeah, yeah. But you know the song I'm talking about without you know
Hmm.
you know the one.
Yeah.
And you're right. They are both good songs. They're
And it's
both well.
supposed to be about sexual freedom, which is very important, very, very important. But I do not believe in abortion. I do not believe in being promiscuous anymore. I've done everything and it made me miserable. The only thing that makes me happy, the only thing that allows me to sleep at night is to stand up for righteousness and personal freedom. But you should never be tacky and you should never be stupid and dumb. You should be as deep as you can possibly be. And those songs are very deep. I was trying to say, I don't like what Cardi B was doing for, mainstream songwriting. I didn't like what the nasty words that were coming out in all these rap songs, and so I was trying to make it funny. It was supposed to be a joke.
Okay. All right. Would you indulge us with one story, uh, the Andy Dick kidnapping story, and hopefully you'll come back on and we'll hear other stories in the future. But
Yes.
would you talk about the Andy Dick kidnapping story?
Okay, so someone wants to know who was Christine in 1776 Restoration Movement who went with Patriot Q to the camp. I have no idea who anyone is. Do you know how many times I was threatened by random people? I just like keep on threatening me. I'd go to Santa and I'd say, these people are mentally ill and you need to get rid of them because they're mentally ill. And that's what brought Santa down in the end, was that he was such a loving, kind person. And I love him forever. And I'm one of his biggest fans. I love David Rydell, but he was such a kind, loving person. And he was surrounded by very mentally ill people most of the time. Now I haven't hung out with him since he's been in Indiana, but hopefully it's better. And I think that the group, I love 1776 Restoration, and I pretty much love everyone. And no one should be fighting. We have very serious enemies that we need to expose, and everyone should take their experiences as live streaming and use it to expose corruption. That was the purpose of live streaming, was to expose corruption. So my Andy Dick story is that I don't really have an Andy Dick story because I was in Washington, D.C., but Andy Dick ended up getting beaten up in Las Vegas because he got too drunk and he had everything stolen from him. And he ended up in the man's apartment that made the songs that are kind of wild that I wrote. And the really good live streamers like Captain Content and all these people rescued Andy Dick. But, he ended up in the guy's apartment that is a really violent, volatile person. I forgot the guy's name.
Okay.
Do you remember his name? I don't remember his name. Does anyone in chat remember his name?
Is it something in the music business or something? Some guys.
He's not in the music business. He's a bored person and he makes songs. His name is, I can't remember his name.
All right.
I don't remember his name.
How did Andy Dick get involved in live streaming?
So Andy Dick likes alcohol, and so he got super wasted, super drunk in Las Vegas, and he got mugged and pretty much beaten up to a bloody pulp. And his girlfriend is Elisa. I think her name is Elisa. Am I saying that right? Elisa. And she somehow knew the idiot that made those songs for me. And so the guy ends up picking Andy Dick up and putting Andy Dick in his apartment in Vegas. And then he wouldn't let Andy Dick leave. So Andy Dick got kidnapped by the idiot that made the songs. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a live streamer. I don't remember his name. So it's just, the live streaming culture is so entertaining. I haven't watched TV in years. Like, you don't need television once you get into live streaming because it's all real and it's so just shocking. The behavior is shocking. And, normal behavior is way more shocking than anything reality TV could do. And I've always said that to very serious reality TV production companies, that they're just forgetting that there's a huge live streaming culture out there, and that culture would be the most interesting to do in a real reality show for a major TV network. Although I'm probably banned on most TV networks now because for some reason I have a lot of trolls who follow me and lie about me, and they say things like I'm racist. I'm not racist at all. I have no racist part about me at all. Nothing.
Okay.
I'm not a white supremacist. I have no interest in any of that. I'm a very kind, respectful, loving person. And I got into live streaming to really have a platform for me to speak truth to power.
Okay. Do you know the guy that plays guitar and dresses goth? He's from Wisconsin, and I can't think of his name. Somebody help me in chat who I'm trying to think of. He cooks all the time with Doritos and oh crap. Somebody help me out in chat. No, it's not Ewok. It's the guy that he's into Ozzy. Cobes. King Cobra. Cobes.
King Cobra. I've never met King Cobra. No, I've never met him. I don't think many people have. I don't think he goes outside very much.
Okay. All right. He's one of the most entertaining for me to watch. I just drew a blank on his name. But I know what you're saying. The TV can't offer what's being done here online when it's being done at its peak.
Yes, TV cannot offer live streaming. And so I got way too into live streaming, and I do regret that. I spent too many years live streaming. I really don't want to go into live streaming ever again. My purpose now is to expose the real news. And so I work for major news networks now.
Okay.
And, I even get censored by major news networks. I get censored. Everybody wants their version of the news, and there's really only one version of the news. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you can't have so many different versions of the news. Am I in too dark of lighting? You should have told me to turn the lights on.
No, you're
Is
all
it
right.
too dark? Okay.
You're all
Okay.
right. So how do you feel? I mean, we're pretty secure on your positions on things. Let's just talk about abortion for a second. How do you feel about another woman that um, that believes her body's autonomous? And I mean, do you respect her right to have her feelings?
I mean, that's a really big deal. Of course, I do respect someone's right, but I'm telling you, abortion's wrong. So I have to live with the fact that I've had multiple abortions and I never should have done that. And of course, I did have one abortion that I'm glad I had. And, the rich, the people who can afford to do it, will always be able to have an abortion. You can always get a black market abortion. But, my doctor in Beverly Hills was definitely using the pieces of the abortion to sell for major money because that's stem cell research. And those aborted fetal tissue is worth a lot of money. And, that's probably one of my biggest issues is that, I shouldn't have ever had abortions. And the men in my life wanted me to do it. And then in one particular situation, I wanted to do it. So I know all sides of the equation. So abortion is wrong in every case. But if you do get raped, if you really, really don't want to have it, it's your right, but you have to live with that for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And you'll always be able to get an abortion if you have the money to do it.
All right. And you said it's okay if Chad asks a couple of questions here at the end.
Of course.
All right. Anybody have anything? And I just want to thank you for coming on here.
Of course,
And
I was scared of you, but you're so kind. I'll come on anytime.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. And you're welcome on here anytime. And
yeah.
I think we need to have conversations like this.
Yeah, that's really important. Juan O'Sullivan is one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life. And, he always says, you got to have conversations. And that's very, very important. We all need to start talking to each other. People have been way too violent, way too volatile. I did not like the people who were so volatile with Santa because, Convoy Santa, David Rydell is one of the greatest men. And when you're around him, you feel the vibrational frequency of love. There was a point when I was sitting in a lawn chair in the National Mall and I had nothing. Everything had been stolen from me and I had nothing because, my place in DC, a really bad things happened there. I'll tell you another time what happened. But
Okay.
anyway, I was sitting in the National Mall and I had nothing and just sitting next to David Rydell, especially when he was with Rose, because Rose brought him the spiritual side. Rose is a little unstable and psycho, but I love her no matter what. And David Rydell and Rose together, I mean, they could have started a revolution that would have been successful anywhere in the world. So that team together, even though they fought a lot, when they were united, the feeling of love was so high level. I'll probably never have that experience again. I had nothing, nothing. I barely had food, barely had water. I had nothing. And I was so happy just sitting in a lawn chair with nothing, just being around David Rydell. Shocking. I've never had that
Interesting.
experience with anyone else in my life. Never. He's one of the greatest
Interesting.
men alive. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, let's just end it on that. We're coming up on the 11 o'clock hour here. I think we've had a pretty good conversation, and I hope you'll come back on and we'll do it again.
Anytime. You're so kind. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. And it's Corinne IRT, not
It's
IRL,
Corinne.
right?
It's both. It's Corinne IRL, Corinne IRT, in real life, in real time, CORINNE, because I get censored and banned. So like one channel gets taken down, then I have the second channel, then I've got channels Facebook, I've got channels Rumble, I have channels on streamlife.tube, I have channels on Patriot Party News. You know, I have to be all over the place because I'm one of the most banned and censored women. And so I am really a serious live streamer. Every time I get banned and censored, I let it go and I just start over. It's fine.
Okay.
That's why I don't care about how many subscribers I have. I've had millions. They banned and censored me on YouTube when I had over 1 million subscribers in 2021.
Do you have a regular newscast that you do a regular time during the day, or is it just whenever something's happening?
I was doing it every day at 5 p.m. But the thing is that I wasn't getting a lot of donations to do it. And so now I have to take other jobs because I have to work and pay for myself. And
Right.
so I work for many different companies.
Okay.
And my favorite company right now that I love is American Media Periscope. AmericanMediaPeriscope.com is the future of all news.
Okay. And that's where people can find you most often.
Yeah. And then,
AmericaMediaPeriscope.com.
yes, and then starting next month, I will be on Patriot Party News every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, starting in March 1st.
Yeah,
Patriot News every day at 2 p.m. All right. Do you have a
Patriot Party News.
Patriot Party News? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a Cash App or
Yes,
any?
my Cash App is Corinne, Corinne, Corinne now, Corinne, it's $, Corinne. And then I have a Give Send Go, which is Corinne IRL and Corinne IRT. And it's so interesting. I'm not trying to start any drama, but your moderator, Lori, is saying, where is Corinne's OnlyFan page? And I think that's stupid and dumb and tacky. Why are you focusing on stupid, dumb, tacky things? We have to work together to raise the vibrational frequency of planet Earth, or we're not going to be able to survive what's about to happen in the next couple years. So we need to all just be as kind and considerate and respectful to each other as we possibly can be, because we need to be united, not divided. The powers that be, the super rich, are the problem, and they want us to fight each other. They want us to hurt each other, and we need to be as loving and kind and stand up united for freedom. We're going into very serious times, and anyone who's not united in freedom is going to have a very serious problem in the future.
All right. And we'll take that as the final word for the night. Thank you so very
Yeah.
much. Thank you, Corinne. We will,
God bless you, Pete.
God bless you as well. And there we go. I'm so glad that she was able to get on here, and that I'm so glad we were able to do that. And again, hopefully we'll do it in the future, and we'll learn some more. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on, and we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. as always on Thursday nights. We'll have some news and we'll have some fun, and thank you, Almonte, and thank you, Corinne. ACB, thank you for being here. Noel's Gig, thank you all for clicking on. Everybody that watched this, I greatly appreciated it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Help spread the word. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like button, share the episode with people, and we'll do it all again tomorrow night. Until then, namaste, shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon you from the Most High, His Son Christ Jesus, with the power of the Holy Spirit. And if you're not a spiritual person, positive vibrations as always, much love, and as always, peace. What Corinne said, what we may be facing, it may be much more important to understand our humanities and the things that bring us together potentially, than to be focusing on the things that divide us and make us hate. Just something to think about. See you next time. It's a dark world. Be a light. Peace. I love you. Thank you all.